Chuck and Winkler, we are served up by Perkins Restaurant and Bakeries from the Bryant and Stratton College Athletics Studios. I'm Bart Winkler. That is Chuck Freeman. Chuck, normally the most people we ever have in the actual studio is you and me and Cody.
Sure.
Our producer. We've got the full house here today. We've got a couple events coming up. There's one event tonight. Jake the Snake Roberts will be there, and he is here right now. Jake, thanks for coming in. How you doing, man?
Hey, Jake.
Miserable.
Miserable. Jake, can Jake hear me? Because he's got the headset. He doesn't have the headset on. I don't think Jake can hear me over there.
Throw your ears on so you can
There we
hear
go.
Okay.
Chuck.
There we go.
Chuck, yeah.
So I'm at a different studio.
Speak to me.
There we go. Jake is the 10th WWE wrestler to come in. Well, he was wrestling in the old WWF, but to come in studio, and it's great to have you. Jake, you're going to be part of what now?
I have no idea, man. I'm just going to do my thing. And tonight I'm going to have a little fun telling road stories and stuff.
Oh, man, that's the best.
Yeah, it's the insanity part of it, and I have a blast doing it. And I just encourage everybody to come out with an open mind, man, because I'm going to blow it away.
You know, it's amazing the stories that you guys. I mean, because in the '80s, you wrestled every day. It's
Right.
I hear. I've heard some of the guys you've wrestled with. We've had here on the show. And how did you guys do that? I mean, wrestling every day, city to city, and
It was insanity, It really helped being insane, But we were so hungry for it, man. It was so exciting. It was, Vince McMahon, he blew the top off of it, man. And next thing you know, you're going city to city, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. Every building is sold out, turning people away. And when you go from, the backwoods in Alabama, where you've got 300 people, and all of a sudden you're in Madison Square Gardens with 25,000, or Detroit with 93,000. This is new, and this is fun, and this is good, and the money was great. But you get caught up in it so much, man. You just don't get enough. You can never get enough.
Jake the
That's
Snake,
the problem.
you will be in the Roadhouse Saloon tonight in Rubicon.
I won't be drinking, though.
It'll be the Unspoken Word Tour. You mentioned that, Jake, about how you get caught up in it.
Yeah.
And I think, some people can maybe relate where their job takes over and this becomes their life, and how many marriages have suffered because the job, you fall in love more with the job.
Absolutely.
And I've got to just only imagine, to try to put myself in your shoes, where there's that adrenaline that you just cannot find anywhere else.
Yeah, it's a real dangerous game to play. Really was, because you're so hooked on that adrenaline that whenever it's gone, you don't feel like you have a purpose in life. That's what happened to me. I was so in love with performing. I didn't care about how much money I was making. I didn't give a dang. I just wanted to go out and get that rush. And it didn't matter how bad I felt in that locker room when that bell rang. I felt good.
Yeah.
Because Jake the Snake Roberts never had a problem in the ring. He had problems outside the ring. And that's the demons I had to wind up fighting.
And I think in a lot of sports now with athletes, it's such a different experience. We watch these guys at the top of their game, whether it's wrestling or baseball or football, 10 years, and they are stars. And you're a star, and you get that rush, and you get that admiration all the time. And then afterwards, what do you do? So, I mean, what advice would you have for people that, how do you, there's got to be other wrestlers that say, how do I go on?
A few do, and they're getting smarter. They're actually having people, WWE is having people come in and talk to these guys, and tell them how to take care of their money, and warn them what's coming, what's around the corner, because that's what happens. You don't think it'll ever end, because. I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons there's been so many deaths, is because what happened with wrestling is a guy's got this spot and he's kicking the world's butt and he's doing great, but then all of a sudden somebody that's pushing a pencil decides, I'm tired of writing for that guy. I don't want to include him. I don't want him to play anymore. Let's send him home. I'm tired of him. And yet your game is still good.
Yeah.
But they just took it away from you. And now you cannot participate. What do you do? What do you do with your life?
Yeah.
I've trained for 25 years to get here, and some jerkwad up here that's never even been in a ring decides he doesn't want to play with me anymore. Yeah.
Jake, how did you develop your character? I mean, you were one of these guys who, when he was on the mic, you never raised your voice. Yeah, you were a heel, you were a face, you were a good guy. How did you know that this was the character for you? And nobody told you; you just developed it on your own.
It was evolution. Believe me, when I started, I was probably the worst wrestler to ever step in the ring because I didn't do it the right way. My experience was I went up and challenged a guy, and I got the snot beat out of me.
Mm-hmm.
My father wrestled, but he would not help me at all getting into the business. And I was punished because, he stepped on a lot of people on his way up the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 7 foot and 425 pounds. And he couldn't kick his butt, but they could darn sure whip mine. And I took a lot. And my idea of training back then was just to go out there and experience it. And it was rough. But with a lot of great talent back in those days, the guys that were in the first match all the way through the card, they all knew what they were doing.
Sure.
And there were some kind guys that pulled me aside and started working with me, started teaching with me. But I learned more probably and don't get this wrong, in the back seat of a car riding down the highway. That's when you learn.
With all you guys driving to the next city?
Yeah, man, because you got to hear the stories. You got to hear the experiences. And those guys back in those days, they shared their time with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, reality is this. It's all of our jobs to share our knowledge.
What would you share with the guys today that was different from when, other than the travel and all that, the wrestling today compared to when you guys got it done in the 80s?
Well, it's a different animal today, man. They don't teach them the way they used to teach them. They don't have to learn the things that we used to have to learn. We used to have to be a package on our own. Now they got people that write their storylines, and they have people that write their interviews, and they got people that hold their hands and what have you. The one thing I will say about the WWE is they are keeping the wellness program going, which is keeping the guys off the drugs and the alcohol. And that's the one thing I want to stand up and say, man, don't do it. Just don't do it, man. I did it, and it damn near killed me. It took me forever to beat that beast. And it's like when I got cancer a few years ago, and beating cancer was nothing, man.
Yeah.
Not after you beat cocaine and alcohol. Are you kidding me? That was like taking a day off. I mean, whip some cancer's butt, man.
Is it a test for you every day, or are you completely...
I'm good, man.
Good now.
I am very, very good right now, man. My life is so awesome. I've got some very forgiving children that love me regardless of the past and have forgiven me. I had a mother that believed in me. Until she was gone, and that's been the toughest thing I've had to deal with lately is the passing of my mother, man. And hey, youngsters out there, man, don't take Mom for granted, brother. You're gonna miss her when she's gone. Trust me.
Jake the Snake Roberts in studio. We're joined by a few others as well. Zach Gowen was with the WWE from Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, Roxy and Sunny, the California Girl. Guys, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
As well.
Happy to be here. Yes.
Different times, Zach, and different obviously arenas for you guys.
Oh, Zach's my hero, man. I mean, I look up to Zach, bro.
Yes, indeed.
Zach, your story, is fascinating too.
Yeah, I'm blown away. Thank you. Thanks for having us. What makes my story interesting is the fact that I lost my left leg to cancer when I was 8 years old. And at 19 years old, I became the world's first one-legged WWE superstar. Wow. Defied the odds, and now I get to share my message, whether it's through wrestling, whether it's through speaking to kids, through being on American Ninja Warrior, through teaching yoga. That life isn't about what happens to us. Life is about how we respond to what happens to us. And I'm very grateful to be here and carry that message with you guys.
The time in the WWE was so short for you. I remember you had a storyline with Hulk Hogan, as I remember, didn't I? About the early 2000s, did you?
Yeah. So I was packing groceries at Joe's Produce in Livonia, Michigan, and 2 weeks later, I'm in the middle of the ring with Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan, and Vince McMahon.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
19 years old. Yeah, so that was absolutely unbelievable, and I'm so grateful for that experience. That I got to do something that I never even thought was possible. Like when I got into wrestling, being in WWE wasn't even a goal of mine because I figured, because of my size and my lack of limbs, I just loved the business so much. I wanted to be a part of the business, and for it to take off how it did, absolutely mind blowing.
Sunny, Roxy, you guys were when wrestling was. I think it's much more women friendly now. I mean, they got rid of even just by getting rid of the divas to call it the women's championship.
Yes.
It's a lot different. Do you kind of wish you could be in it now instead of when you were wrestling at the time that you guys were wrestling? Do you wish these opportunities were here now?
The only difference is the money. What we made back in the 80s as the first women's group or troupe, if you will, promotion on television, we didn't make squat. What the girls make now, God bless them.
But we also didn't know what we were back then. We had no clue because there was no internet. There was nothing. We had no clue.
No social
we had
media
a
or
blast.
anything. Yeah.
We didn't make a lot of money, but now we look back 30 years and we're like, wow. I'm happy to be a part of that.
30 years later.
And these women now, it's like I mean, I love watching them. You know, it's the way it's taken off
Phenomenal
is amazing.
athletes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
to
great.
have
Natty, love Natty, and Glow
Natty's
with
number one.
Naomi. Like, hello,
Yeah.
she walks out glowing. Is that a sign?
Well, there's a lot of glow.
You tell me, Jake, is that a sign?
out there.
I think so.
They're definitely going.
Charles Manson said it was.
Exactly.
Great.
Hey, he was born on my birthday.
I
I was born
love
on
Charlie.
his.
He's one of my
Okay, now,
heroes.
What does
okay,
that
now
say?
I'm worried about you, Jake.
So the three
Sunny
of
just
you,
turned cloudy.
the three of you will be in action tomorrow night again at the Roadhouse in Rubicon.
So we heard.
Yeah.
Jake, you will be doing the talking.
I'm gonna do the GM thing, man.
The GM
I always wanted to
tomorrow,
be a
Which we've
GM.
seen on Raw before, where they have a
Yeah,
guest
but I'm
GM.
gonna do it right.
Yeah.
but you'll have the event tonight as well at the Roadhouse
Yeah.
Saloon, and we have all this info on our Facebook page as well, facebook.com/1057 FM, The Fan. If you were to try to do what you did then now, Jake, how would that fly?
Oh my God.
I mean, you're
If
your character.
Physically, if I could do it, I'd still be doing it, man.
Yeah.
But my body, 2 discs out of my neck, both hips have been replaced, both shoulders have been done, right wrist reconstruction, compound fracture, right arm, part of my left foot removed, 2 knee surgeries.
My gosh.
2 broken sternums, and I swallowed an ovary at 81, but that was a good thing.
Oh, jeez.
What? Boom.
You were there.
That was mine?
Oh, my.
That was mine? Oh, my God. I was wondering.
Hey, baby.
How many questions can I legally ask after that? I don't know.
I just encourage the folks to come out and throw it at us because I'm going to be out there signing autographs and having
Yeah.
a good time. If you got some memorabilia, bring it up there. We'll sign that up, man. Let's have some fun, shake some hands, and make some people smile.
Jake, you were part of the.
Can I say something though?
Yeah.
That I think we're making history. Steve, who brought us on, you're getting the Glow Netflix together with the original Glow Girls.
That's what's gonna be cool
And this is the
here.
first time something like this has happened. We're walking out Awesome Kong.
Well, Awesome Kong is the actual pro wrestler in the whole
but she's
series.
the welfare queen on the Glow Netflix.
Exactly. But she's the only one that has had professional wrestling experience. So this is what's awesome. And it's kind of paying homage. That show, mind you, is paying homage to us Glow Girls in an odd sort of way. It is fiction, but just to let you know, that's not what happened back then because we were a family show.
None of us
We
did
had
coke
children.
ever.
Well, I don't know about you.
Well,
I
I
saw
did.
you in the locker room.
Don't kick me.
I did more than all y'all. Yeah, right.
You were there.
Yes, I was.
Hey, Jake, what feud was your favorite to be involved in? I mean, you were with the Ultimate Warrior, a few
Yeah.
others, or Macho Man.
Probably Ronnie Garvin, and that was back in
NWA.
Georgia Championship
Yeah.
Wrestling. And, it was so awesome to wrestle Ronnie because we didn't have to talk to each other. We just went out there and beat the snot out of each other. And I tell people the most amazing thing was when I'd be beating Ronnie, man, I'd be wailing on him. We like to lay him in, we're a little weird like that. And here's how I knew when he was about to get up and kick my butt. His nipples would get hard.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, it was scary.
He became tumescent.
Yes.
You know,
He stood up and wore me out.
Jake, you were part of WrestleMania 3, which is
Yeah.
considered the crown jewel
Yeah,
of
93,000.
93,000. I was in college. I drove from Eau Claire down to Detroit to see it in 1987.
It's like a 10-hour drive.
It was unbelievable. The night before we drove down. What was that being a part of that
Oh, it
experience?
was incredible, man. To go to the ring with Alice Cooper in that little miniature ring that they shot up in the air about 15 feet was incredible. Here's Alice Cooper, who I worshipped as a kid. High school, School's Out for Summer. That was the #1 song that year. And all of a sudden, this guy is clawing on me. And I'm like, what in the heck is going on? And I look at him, and he's passing out. His eyes roll back in his head.
Alice Cooper is?
Yeah, I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, too much rush. I'm like, What are you talking about? And he told me afterwards, he said, it's different, man. If it's in my gig, I'd have a guitar, I'd have my stuff that I do. But I'm going out there in this roar. I mean, it was deafening, man. I mean, the hair on your arm it felt like it was growing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was incredible. You couldn't breathe. And here's this guy passing out because it's just too much. And I'm like, oh my God, where do we go from here? And he's clawing the hell out of it. He's got a long fingernail, little winch.
The long
Jake,
black
you were never the champion, the heavyweight
Didn't
champion.
need it.
We were just talking about that earlier on the show. You were the kind of guy who didn't need the championship.
No,
like Piper, he never needed the title either.
No, what I need that for? I have to carry that around too. I got that damn snake.
Yeah. You didn't bring the snake in today, did you?
It's around here
Oh,
somewhere.
geez.
I hate snakes. I've never liked snakes.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Some wrestlers, when you put the snake on them,
They did not like it. Are you kidding
I would
me?
hate it, yeah.
Yeah, that thing would urinate on you, defecate on you, and bite you. So which is the worst? I'm not sure.
Jeez. Did the snake ever get loose in the locker room at all?
Oh, yeah, lots of times. It'd accidentally
Probably on
fall
purpose,
over the
yeah.
top of the toilet.
Oh,
When
jeez.
somebody's sitting on the can.
God.
And,
funny.
of course, I had to keep it in my hotel room, which was always interesting
yeah.
for the poor girls that accidentally walked in the wrong room. Mine. But, yeah, they've seen a couple of snakes in that room.
A couple of snakes. We're talking about one. All of a
Hey,
sudden
we want to
there's
keep this family oriented.
We
folks.
are, bro. We
of
are.
snakes.
No, it was the snake thing was always a pain in the butt, man. But it was a great character I came up with, and
Okay, that was your idea to bring the
yeah,
snake?
it was my idea.
And Vince was okay with it?
Actually, what happened was, man, I was riding down the highway one night listening to Monday Night Football, and they were talking about Kenny Stabler.
The snake.
The snake.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, dude. And I had to be partaking in an herbal remedy at the time and drinking some beer. And I'm like, man, it'd really be cool if a wrestler had a snake. He could throw it on people, And by the time I got home, which was like 6 hours later, I had this character in mind. But I forgot one thing. I'm terrified of snakes. But when McMahon put the contract in front of me and showed me the zeros that were on there, I'm like, what snake? It don't bother me.
I'll take 10 snakes.
Yeah, exactly, man.
My
Money will
goodness.
get you past fear.